thank you for being here. So I'd like to call the October 24th meeting of the Montgomery County Commissioners to order. Note the presence of all three commissioners. And I'd like Kim to lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First, before I get into my remarks, I'd like to congratulate my executive administrator for making it 1 year. I'd like to congratulate my colleague Rhea. She just celebrated her 1-year anniversary with the county. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Rhea over the last year, and her story and her family's story is one that Americans dream about. She's born of immigrant parents who immigrated to this country to give their children an abundance of opportunity. Rhea joined the county as she was a music teacher in New Jersey and decided to shift careers. You know, I hope that you don't regret that shift. But it's been an honor to work with you. You keep me organized. You put your heart into the work we do every day, and I couldn't do this work without you. So thank you again, and congratulations on 1 year. You can? Earlier this week, Commissioner DeBello and I had the honor of attending this year's Careers of Tomorrow Student Expo. Commissioner Makija had another engagement, but he was there in spirit. Our Workforce Development Board, Mako Works, and our Commerce Department work hard every day, well, every year, not every day, every year to host this event. We had over 1,000 students explore potential careers with more than 70 exhibitors. The work our Workforce Development Board and our Commerce Department is able to pinpoint those growing industries and in-demand roles so we can showcase those potential career options for today's students, our workforce of tomorrow. You can find out more in our 2024 Careers of Tomorrow guide available online. And I would just want to send a special thank you to everyone involved in making this week's event such a popular success. Our Workforce Development Board, our Commerce Department, all the businesses and employers who participated, the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, and of course, our students. And I have to say, Commissioner DeBello and I did a simulation with,
That was fun.
what company was that? It's,
Not H&K, the other one.
no, the other one.
I know.
Well, we did a construction simulation, and I actually did better than Commissioner DeBello on that simulation in heels.
Not quite, I remember it that way, but I'll go with it.
Yeah, so, but it was fun. You know, they make it fun for students to really explore what's out there. So, Alan Myers, that's right. How could I forget that? Okay, next up, yesterday we had the pleasure of welcoming an impressive group of young students to Montgomery County and the courthouse. The Montgomery County Cultural Proficiency and Equity Student Ambassadors are 11th and 12th graders from local high schools who engage in cultural understanding and social justice leadership activities. These students had the opportunity to tour the courthouse and meet some of our senior staff and elected officials here at the county. I want to thank Carmina Taylor for coordinating this visit, and to a number of speakers, Commissioner Neil Makija, Judge Walker, Judge Tate Phillips, our Recorder of Deeds, Jean Sword, our Register of Wills, Tina Lawson, our District Attorney, Kevin Steele, and Angela Bell from the DA's office, Christine Laura and Doug Coppin, Nadine Miller, Linda Moore Singleton, Megan Alt, Lee Saltesiak, and Ben Fields. And I want to give a special shout out to Alexandra and Shannon, who helped coordinate within the courts. Moving 80 students through our courthouse is a little bit challenging. but our great staff and court administration really helped us pull it off. And I want to thank Judge Carolyn Carluccio for partnering with me to make yesterday happen. It's always inspiring and uplifting to meet young people in our community who are engaged, organized, and primed to do great things in our community. Congratulations to all the students we met this week from the Careers of Tomorrow and the Cultural Proficiency and Equity Student Ambassadors. Next up, I have the pleasure of announcing our Way to Go winners. First, I'd like to acknowledge Angel. He's a commercial assistant from our Board of Assessments. Angel, are you here? Oh, there you go. Angel works fast. We've met before too. Yep, at the potluck. Good to see you and congratulations. Angel works fast to complete all her work correctly and then looks to assist anyone else needing assistance. She also brings a positive attitude into the office every single day. Hence the reason you're smiling. So thank you so much for being here and all the great work you do. We'll bring you up for a picture here shortly. Let's give Angel a round of applause. Dennis Miller, Director of Office of Veterans Services, thank you for being here.
She's here.
She's here. Okay, just making sure. She's your package deal. Dennis and his team work tirelessly to help the veteran community and let families know that the VA community is there for them too. Dennis, I've watched your work over the last 18 months. Really grateful to have you on the team and look forward to celebrating Veterans Month next month because I know you have a number of exciting things planned. Let's give Dennis a round of applause. Stephen is not attending, but he's a manager in retirement systems. Steve always goes above and beyond for both our county retirees and for active employees seeking retirement information. So congratulations to Steve. Yvonne Turner, she's here. She's our administrative assistant in our commissioner's office. And, when I first started here at the county, I could always count on Yvonne being that smiling face to greet me when I walked in. And I had that written here, but that came from the heart, honestly. You do a lot of work for all of us and ensuring that what happens here on the 8th floor runs smoothly. So I want to thank you for always having such an A+ attitude, your commitment to public service, and your commitment to our work here in the Commissioner's office. So let's give a congratulations to you. And Jim Walters, Administrator, Project Management Office, Department of Health and Human Services. He is not here today. Throughout his time at the county, Jim has been a steady force during times of crisis, including during the pandemic and in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. So thank you, Jim, for your service to the county and congratulations. So all the people that are here, let's give our Way to Go runners a round of applause again, and I'm going to invite you up to
Thank you. Congratulations.
Whoops.
Hi. Yeah, congratulations. My skinny side,
Here's a setting on the camera.
Skinny side.
3, 2, 1. Oh, good job.
All right. Look at that. Thank you.
For a lollipop now, it's a good job.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
And just a couple more things from me. All right, so this fall, the county is hosting several donation drives in support of local families in need. First, a new coat drive. We are collecting new coats of all sizes through the beginning of January. As the temperature drops, Montgomery County is accepting donations of new coats only to help children and adults stay warm this winter. The greatest need is for infants and children, all children's sizes. Our Thanksgiving food and gift card drive help make this Thanksgiving special for families in need by donating non-perishable food items or grocery store gift cards to provide a festive meal. We are accepting food now through November 20th and gift cards now through November 27th. All donations, whether coats, food, or gift cards, can be dropped off at the DeKalb Center at 1430 DeKalb Street in Norristown. And gift cards can be sent directly to Veronica Hillman at montgomerycountypa.gov, and her information is there. We encourage our community members and our staff to participate and help make a meaningful impact to our friends and neighbors. And finally, over the next week, we have several observances, holidays, and days of note. Saturday, October 26th, our DA is here or will be here. Is Drug Take Back Day. He'll talk a little bit about that shortly. Next week, many of our neighbors will be celebrating Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. I wish peace, prosperity, and happiness to all those celebrating. And of course, next week is also Halloween. And although my colleague Becca loves candy corn, does anybody like candy corn in here? No. It's like it's a really difficult subject here, but yeah, I won't do a poll in the board meeting, but my mother loved candy corn. Despite my dislike for candy corn, here at the county, we will be hosting an office desk decorating competition. My fellow commissioners and I will be visiting our employees, decorated spaces, and choosing several different winners. So to all county employees listening in, please decorate your desk and submit your entry. Communication sent out an email earlier this week with a link, and we'll do a follow-up early next week. And my Max is 4. This is a very exciting time of year for him. He's dressing up as Spin from Spidey and Friends. Let's hope he doesn't change that before Halloween. But for all those families that will trick-or-treat next week, happy and safe trick-or-treating to all taking part. Now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Makisha.
Awesome, thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is our last board meeting before the general election, after which you will stop hearing me only talk about elections and I'll have to find other topics. But I'm really excited to share. We're going to have Frank up here in a second, that over 100,000 people in Montgomery County have submitted their ballots, and we're on track for a historic turnout this year, which is great for everyone in Montgomery County. And also looking forward to Halloween. So my son Avi, this is related, is going to be a Dropbox. And he's 16 months old, and yes, please do not submit your ballot in his costume. It will not be counted. Although I'm sure I can figure it out, but no. And maybe I'll be a sheriff to emphasize the security by which we pick up from our drop boxes.
You were Teddy Roosevelt.
I know,
He was Teddy last year,
yeah,
right?
he's
He
a
was the
park
teddy bear.
ranger.
He was the park ranger.
Yes.
Got
Well,
it.
I was Teddy Roosevelt as the park ranger,
Oh, got it.
and
Yep.
he was the teddy bear. So
Yeah, it was cute. It
it's,
was
yeah,
definitely cute.
we got to stay on this roll. Yeah, I'm excited to unveil that. Maybe it'll be. I thought it was going to happen at Booport, which is Bridgeport's Halloween celebration. It might have to happen in Norristown, but coming soon. So, okay, so other than his Halloween costume, some important updates. Tuesday, October 29th, is the last date to request your mail-in. It's also the last day to apply for one here in person and get that. So if you haven't done that, we recommend, one, if you're in this room, just going down to the 6th floor, or going to one of the 8 satellite offices, which will be open this weekend, as well as Friday and Monday afternoons and evenings. You can find the schedule at montcovotes.com. All of it is posted online. We're going to hear some more detailed updates from Frank in a moment, but really important to emphasize with the 40% of people who still have their ballot outstanding, and we're in good shape. I think at this point in the primary, we had probably like 15% of people who have returned their ballots, and now we have 60%. So confident people are going to return their ballots, but they should know we're getting to the point where you should definitely use a drop box instead of the USPS if you want to ensure that it gets here on time. And the drop boxes will be open until 8 p.m. on Election Day. And that's when we have to receive the ballot in order to make sure it gets counted. The one exception is with military and overseas ballots, which we have until November 12th. A couple of things in the last week I just want to share. I've been trying to attend as many of the poll worker trainings as possible. We had one at North Penn last night, a couple hundred people, and it's inspiring to hear how many people, one, are new poll workers who are stepping up to participate in the process to help their fellow neighbors vote, no matter their party affiliation, just supporting the process, making sure everyone has their voice heard. And it's also inspiring to see how many people have been part of the process for decades. So there are people who've been poll workers for 30, 40 years in this county. I just want to thank anyone who has participated that long, or whether they're stepping up for the first time this year. It's inspiring to know that there are people who believe in the process, want to support everyone's voting rights here in Montgomery County. And along the same lines, we've done a few new things in the county. We've had the satellite offices. We've had the mobile satellite office for the first time. We've been able to visit a number of different places in the county, senior centers, college campuses, township buildings, fall festivals, and everywhere we go, people are just, their first reaction is, wow, I can actually get my ballot right here and submit it, or I can register. And I think showing this model and this pilot that we want to make our service delivery as accessible as possible and as effective as possible really is a great message. And I know there are other counties around the Commonwealth that are now interested in doing this, and it's a great thing to be able to provide that service. So folks know we'll be reaching out to a number of places between now and Election Day, including being at the community college in Bluebell today, at the Elmwood Park Blue at the Zoo event this weekend, in New Hanover at the Township Building on Monday, in Hatfield Township also on Monday in the afternoon, at Arcadia University on Thursday on Halloween, and then at Collegeville Borough Hall on Friday, November 1st. And so you can see we've been in every part of the county, the west, the east, up, north and south. We're making sure we're trying to get out to as many places as possible to also provide education. So once the mail-in ballot deadline is done, we're still going to have voter services team showing up to be able to educate them on any questions they have, and that's a big part of what they do. So I want to thank the whole team, particularly Danielle and Adam, for providing that information and showing up across the county and providing the services as well. So beyond that, I'll just emphasize again, we have the 8 satellite offices that are open this weekend. Please be prepared to wait if, for example, registration deadlines pass, so that's not as long, but everything runs faster if you have your ID, so it's helpful to bring one. And then the locations are in Abington, Franconia, Lansdale, Lower Merion, Pottstown, Upper Dublin, White Marsh, and Blue Grove. And you can still just request a mail-in ballot if that's the easiest thing. We will get it to you usually within 3 days, and Frank can give us an update on that. The final piece on this is, it's a big topic, the deficiencies on ballots, whether people have a misdated or undated ballot, or they've got a secrecy envelope. I'm really excited to share that we have probably the lowest ratio of ballots with errors we've had in a long time, or at least since these issues have come up. But there are 353 ballots with deficiencies. That list is published. It's also sent to the political parties. And if you are a voter who's made an error, you should be hearing from people, and you will hear directly from the county as well, either by mail, and if we have your phone or email, we use those. So please make sure to look out for any notification like that, or you can check the list yourself at oncovotes.com, see if anyone you know is on it, and you can come in and do a cancel replace to get a new ballot to correct the error. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court actually just decided yesterday that if you are one of these voters that has made an error, you can still show up on election day and cast a provisional ballot. That was in question. There was a chance it would have gone a direction where if you made a mistake, you couldn't correct it and vote provisionally on election day. Thankfully, that's not what happened. So finally, on the elections, we're going to have a town hall, our third town hall of this season on October 29th, 6 to 7 p.m. All three of us will be answering questions. We've had hundreds of people join these the last two town halls, and it's been a great experience to hear about what voters are experiencing in terms of the election administration and how we can best support their needs. And then finally, I'll say Happy Diwali. I had the pleasure of being with Governor Shapiro. He just signed a bill a few days ago to make Diwali an official holiday in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, thanks to a number of legislators like Representative Venkat in Allegheny County, Senator Saval in Philadelphia, as well as Senator Rothman, Senator Sierra, and Collette. It was a pleasure to be there with a number of leaders in the community across the Commonwealth to recognize that this is a celebration not just for those who observe in Hinduism, but in recognizing that Diwali stands for the triumph of light over dark and good over evil, that's something that Pennsylvanians as a whole can recognize. So I wish everyone who is celebrating a happy Diwali this weekend and in the weeks to come. Commissioner Develop.
Okay. So I'm not going to talk about election stuff. I think you covered it. Halloween costume, I'll put out there right now. I'm going as Lee, so should be fun.
I'm working on
You
mine.
could say a lot of things to that.
Also, today is the start of Red Ribbon Week, which is a substance use prevention campaign that's been going on since 1985. It originally began as a tribute to the DEA special agent who was murdered while working in Mexico. Residents in the agent's hometown in California began wearing red ribbons in his honor, and the red ribbon soon grew into a symbol for preventing drug use. It's the largest anti-drug campaign in the United States, and our own Montgomery County Drug and Alcohol Community Prevention Team is gearing up to honor the week. The courthouse will be lit up in red for the next week. So for many of our county offices that focus on substance abuse and addiction, this is your year-round struggle, and I want to commend them for their work in the fight against addiction and drug abuse. Next Friday, November 1st, we will be hosting a flag raising in honor of Veterans Month. And I know that we're also going to be planning some additional activities through the month, recognizing our veterans. The ceremony next week will be 10 a.m. Here on the courthouse steps, and I encourage everyone to attend. And I'm looking forward to honoring our veterans. There's so much that they have given to this country, and the least we can do is show up and show them some appreciation. Our communications team is also producing a video that will feature the stories and experiences of some of our Monco veterans and showcase the work of our Veteran Services Office. So keep an eye out for that video in the next few weeks. This week was also, in Montgomery County, we had Italian Heritage Month. It was October, throughout October, we were recognizing Italian Heritage. And we're honored and excited to host our first Italian Heritage event yesterday right here in the boardroom. We heard from Dr. Russo, an historian professor at Montgomery County Community College, about the trials and tribulations and triumphs of Italian community in America. It was a great event, and I was glad to see so many folks here to celebrate. We served some cannolis, of course, and we knew that would be a big hit. So we look forward to continue through the rest of October and look at making plans for next year. Also, as Commissioner Weiner said, we were at the Monco Career Fest. It was just watching the students coming in from all the different high schools and seeing all the opportunities that await them is exciting. And the kids were really excited to see these opportunities. And we have so many amazing companies throughout Montgomery County that have these opportunities for students that get out of go to college, come back, and work within their career that they choose, or they also there's opportunities for students that come right out of high school and go right into the workforce. And of course, we were also excited to see that our military branches were there also. So that was good. I think they were expecting throughout the morning. It went from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I think they were expecting somewhere around 1,200 students throughout the day. So that was just an amazing event. I was able to attend a ribbon cutting earlier this week at St. Rocco's Treats, the crumbless treats. I always have to try to say that slow because it's a tongue twister. But for those that may remember, St. Rocco's was here last month, I believe it was, and they were working with our Commerce Department and RDA for a low-interest loan to purchase additional equipment for their expansion of their company. I actually saw the equipment that they purchased, and I'll tell you, I met two young guys, 25 and 23, and they are ready to set the world on fire. They're amazing. They're excited in what they're doing, and they're young entrepreneurs. And I was talking with their parents, and I said, these kids, they're going to be amazing. I could see not only this being their first business venture, but growing from there. And I think lastly, one of the things that I was happy to be able to broker was that, several months ago I was meeting with the Norristown Chamber, and they have been looking for an office location in Norristown, and they weren't able to find something that met their needs. Coincidentally, I was over meeting with RDA. I was in their office several months ago and talking with them, and I noticed that they had a lot of unused office space. So I actually pulled representatives from RDA and the chamber representatives together, met. They toured the office, and I'll tell you, it was like a match made in heaven. They were excited. So RDA subleased a portion of their office to the Norristown Chamber right here on Main Street. They are officially now on board. They're planning a ribbon cutting, and it was just exciting to see that we're able to help our community, especially Norristown, because there's so much hard work going on to foster the revitalization of Norristown, and this is just one more step towards that. And I was excited to be able to pull that together, and I'm looking forward to seeing good things coming from our Norristown Chamber. And lastly, I looked up on the internet. The proper way to eat candy corn is open your bag of candy corn, pour it in the trash,
There we go.
and
There we go.
grab a Reese's cup. Not me saying that, and it's on the internet, and it has to be true. I'm just putting it out there.
People are saying.
That's what people are saying.
I couldn't agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's you grab a fistful and just
Yes. That's why you two are made. for
ready
each
as
other.
possible.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I have to do it. So who here likes candy corn? By show of hands. Okay, all right. All right.
This is going
Just
to be
saying.
as close as the election.
Okay. I'd rather talk about candy corn than the election.
I know, how easy circle back to that?
All right, speaking of the election, we're gonna have Frank Dean come up, our Director of Elections, and then we'll invite you know what, let me reverse it. Let's invite our DA, Kevin Steele, up to talk about Drug Take Back Day, and then we'll do the election update. Because he's a busy district attorney, so.
So thank you for giving me a moment here. I want to talk about a different type of drop box. One you can put drugs into. And they're at all the police departments throughout our county. And twice a year, we do a drug take back. And it's so important because this is an opportunity to save lives. You know, following your comments, Commissioner DeBello, like substance abuse is a huge issue in our community. There's still too many people dying, and getting unused drugs out of your medicine cabinet into a safe disposal can save lives. It can prevent, you know, kids from getting access to them, can prevent people going down the addiction end of things, and ultimately, in many cases, far too many cases, losing their lives over this. So we do this twice a year, and we have a wonderful paralegal in our office who is very creative, and we try to have her come up with something special, you know, each time to try to get some attention on this problem. So I was really pleased when they brought this one into me, which is despicable meds. Get them out of your medicine cabinets. You know, get them into the drop boxes. Save lives. And this program that we've been involved with, we started this in 2010. And over the period of time that we've been doing this, we have 126,000 pounds of unused medicine that have been turned in. 126,000 pounds. When we take it, we destroy it. It doesn't go into the water system, and I am certain that it has saved lives. So I ask everyone to spread the word on this, and I appreciate this time from you all to try to draw some attention to it, because it's really essential that we keep going down this track and we keep our foot on the gas and not allow more sons and daughters and mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles to go down this track, because it not only is a loss of life, you know, for the person involved in it, but it has such an impact on the families that go through this. And so Despicable Meds, Saturday, 40 locations throughout the county where you can go. If you can't make it on Saturday, go any day of the week to the police department and do them. And this year, not only do we have 40 departments that are having this, but there are also 4 locations at grocery stores: Giant Food Store in Horsham, Giant Food Store in Upper Moreland, Wegmans Food Store in Montgomery Township, and Wegmans at Providence Town Center Shopping Center Complex. So easy to come in, pull in. The police will be there to help load them into the safe areas, and then they come from all over the county, bring it to us, and then we destroy them safely. Thank you for your time. I'll leave a couple posters if anybody wants them. Where do I leave them?
Yeah, our comms team can, take them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kevin. Appreciate it. All right, next up, Frank Dean.
Good morning, Commissioners. I can't believe the most controversial thing I'm going to say today is that I do support candy corn. Change of pace.
It's a change of pace, right? I'm sure.
Thank you for inviting me today. I would like to present some information to all of the voters watching so that they can be best informed when coming up with their voting plan for Election Day. Some of the things I'm going to go over will be what to expect if you are planning to vote in person versus if you are planning to vote by mail, and also set expectations for some of our processes on Election Day and the days and weeks afterwards. If you are planning to vote in person, first thing you want to do is make sure you are registered and that you know where your polling place is, both on our website and the Department of State's website. You can check your voter registration. You'll need to provide your name, date of birth, and PennDOT number. If you are unable to locate yourself on that voter registration search engine, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are not registered. please send us an email, give us a call. We are ultimately the ones who can dig the deepest and make sure to give you the most accurate information. Some of the things you'll see on there are your name and address. If you have a mailing address that is different than your registered address, your party affiliation, whether or not you've already been scheduled to receive an absentee or mail-in ballot, all the information you will need to come up with your voting plan for Election Day. It'll also provide our address and contact information. So please give us a call if you have any questions at all. If you are planning to vote in person when you arrive at the polls, the polls open at 7 a.m. and are open until 8 p.m. If you're voting for the first time at your polling location, you will need to show ID. There is a list of acceptable IDs both on our website and provided to every judge. If you requested an absentee or mail-in ballot and did not return it by that point on Election Day, you can surrender it at your polling location and vote on a machine, or you can still return your mail-in ballot in a drop box or at our office. If you do not have your mail-in ballot and you still want to vote in person, you simply need to vote on a provisional ballot after Election Day. Once we confirm that we did not receive your mail-in ballot, we can count your provisional ballot. Some other things to expect. You may see people hanging around your polling location. They are poll watchers. They are allowed to be there. There are different rules governing the types of activities that they are allowed to engage in. The way to identify a poll watcher is they should have a certificate issued by my office. If they do not have a certificate, please give us a call. If you see anyone inside the polling location engaging in any type of politicking or electioneering, please call our office so that we can handle that. No one should be engaging in any of that behavior inside your polling place. Other people that will be inside your polling place are your poll workers. We're very lucky to have a very robust group of poll workers. We currently have 2,800 scheduled to work this election. All of our judges have been assigned. All of our polls, we believe, are fully staffed to the point that we will need for this election, but we are getting people in the wings, so to speak, in the event something comes up last minute, so that we can accommodate and serve as many voters on Election Day as quickly and efficiently as possible. Some machine misconceptions. One of the most popular ones have to do with Sharpie markers. We do recommend using a Sharpie to fill out your ballot. It will bleed through to the other side. We take that into account when we design the ballot. It will not affect your vote choice. That being said, if you are still concerned, you can use a pen or pencil. We just ask that you fill in the circles, the ovals for your choice as dark as possible to make it easier for our scanners to read. If you have already submitted your ballot and you think, oh no, maybe I didn't fill in the ovals dark enough, all of the ballots that have undervotes are adjudicated after Election Day by real people. We don't just leave it up to a machine. A bipartisan team, a Republican and a Democrat, will look at any ballots that have what are called extraneous marks or undervotes, where the computer can be sure about a voter's decision or a voter's intent, and those two people will actually determine that intent based on the law and guidance from the Department of State. If you do encounter an issue at the polling place, or if you make a mistake on your ballot, you can request an additional ballot. Simply go over to the judge or the clerk and ask for a new ballot, and they will issue you one. If you have any trouble filling out the ballot, every polling place has an ADA device called the ballot marking device. It's a giant tablet that lets you touchscreen your choices and print out a ballot to feed into the scanner. If, however, you are planning to vote by mail, one thing to keep in mind, the deadline, as has been mentioned, is next Tuesday, the 29th at 5 p.m. We have to have received your application by that point. We are mailing ballots every single day. If you have not received your ballot and you received an email over a week ago saying that it was on its way to you, I recommend that you submit a cancel and replace to my office. You can get that form on our website, moncovotes.com, under the forms section. It's a request to cancel and reissue a ballot. It can be done entirely online. No more need to print it out and sign it and then scan it back to us. We've recently reworked a number of our forms so they can be done entirely electronically. Voting by mail. Next one. All right, well, I will go off of my sheet then. So ballots on Election Day, as the polls close, all of those results cartridges and ballots are actually taken by our judges of election back to different satellite locations and then back to Norristown for us to start tabulating those votes. At the same time, we are tabulating all of the votes that are scanned at our mail-in facility. We cannot start reading results until 8 p.m. It is our plan to update our result website every 30 minutes with any additional results that have been returned to our office. The first update will, in all likelihood, only be mail-in ballots because we will be running that report at 8:01 p.m. Even the best poll workers aren't going to get their results cartridges back to us in a minute. So please be patient. That is the one thing that I would like to stress to everyone. The mail-in ballots will be an initial giant amount, and then over the next hour or so, you'll start to see the in-person start to populate. All of our results are posted both on our website, moncovotes.com, and the Department of State's results reporting website.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Is there any order in which these are being tabulated? Like, I know that the ballots are sorted through the Blue Crest. When the first batch comes out, is there anything they have in common, or is it just a random assortment of mail-ins?
We move through the room in numerical order through the precinct codes. So it does not move alphabetically. Our precinct codes don't line up that way. So I think we would start with blanking on it. 010 is the beginning of it, but it's not in a. We move precinct by precinct, but we don't move alphabetically. I'll say that. By the time the 8 o'clock drops, I'm hoping that we are well towards the middle to end, hopefully.
Yeah.
The in-person are staggered. It's going to be whenever those results cartridges come back to our satellite offices and then are transported back to Norristown. We are not allowed to start opening mail-in ballots until 7 a.m. on Election Day. That's why there's often that delay after polls close in completing mail-in ballots. Based on the number of ballots that we are mailing and our typical throughput for opening and scanning ballots, I do anticipate that we will finish around 24 or 25 hours after 7 a.m. on Election Day. We are scheduling, however, until noon the next day with canvassers. And I'm happy to report that all of these shifts currently available through 6 a.m. the day after Election Day are full. So we will be operating at maximum capacity for 24 hours straight, at least. As the ballots are opened and scanned, any that are determined to have a deficiency will also be canceled. So if you are a voter who has not received an email on Election Day regarding your ballot, it could be that there is a deficiency and we are recording it. It is not an instantaneous email to you, so if you have not received a notification about your mail-in ballot, you can appear at any polling location and fill out a provisional ballot. Speaking of mail-in ballots, there is one last weekend for satellite offices. That is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 8 locations across the county and one Montgomery will be open from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Friday and Monday, and Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. However, if you do get to one of those offices and they are very busy, you can still apply online. We are mailing those every single day, and we are currently processing and mailing within the last 24 hours of applications received. So you are 24 hours away from getting your ballot put into the mail stream. When you are returning your ballot, however, as was mentioned, we do not recommend mailing it back once you are within 7 days of Election Day. At that point, we do recommend either returning it directly to one of our offices or to a drop box location. If you are unable to return it to a drop box or one of our office locations, you are able to send it via any manner of express mail, UPS, FedEx, the post office. Just write it to the same address that's on the front of your ballot return envelope. We will get it. You will get that confirmation. Lastly, after all of the results have been tabulated from Election Day, there are a number of ballots that will still be outstanding, namely provisional ballots, military and overseas, any damaged ballots that need to be recreated, and any ballots where voters still have an opportunity to verify their identity. Approximately 1 week after Election Day, any provisional ballots that have been challenged, I will come before the commissioners, acting as the election board, to hold a hearing on whether or not to count those ballots. Once that has been decided, all remaining outstanding ballots will be adjudicated in the manner that the board decides. At that point, we will complete what's called a first signing document, which is where the board attests that these are the results they intend to certify. 5 days after that, we will hold a second meeting where the board will officially certify those results. A good rule of thumb is that we will have that certification hearing sometime around Thanksgiving. It's a little bit up in the air depending on the number of ballots that are challenged, the number of ballots that need to be opened and scanned. But as far as setting expectations for all of the voters, when are we going to be quote unquote done? That is when we are actually done, the certification.
Can we just clarify the deadlines on that?
So the election code provides for certification 20 days after the election, which is the Monday of Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
But challenges and the statutorily required appeals processes for those could push out that date.
But there's also the December 11th date too, right?
That is the state's certification and finalization of the electors, which does not involve a counting process. So our process is complete upon certification of the results in the county to the state, which is anticipated to be 20 days after the election.
During that time frame, we also will be conducting our statutory audits, both the 2% statistical audit and the risk limiting audit with the Department of State, the results of which we will publish following their completion.
Just to clarify, those happen before the certification.
Before the certification, yes. Following certification, we will get ready for the next one. Just one last time, the important dates to remember: this weekend is the last weekend for satellite offices. Tuesday is the last day to apply for a mail-in ballot, and any mail-in ballots need to be received by 8 p.m. on Election Day. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Frank, quick question. The mail-in ballots, that there seems to be a way overabundance of envelopes that are coming back sealed. The ones that, I know if people called and we're telling them to just, if it's the inner envelope, the yellow one, if they open it, they could put their ballot in it and then they could tape it closed.
Yes, sir.
I think in one of the canvasser trainings, I don't know if it was true or not, that's why I'm asking a question. Is, when those envelopes, or when those mail-in ballots are opened, are they going to be counted and processed like all the other ballots, or are they going to be recreated?
No, the recreation process is only for damaged ballots. Assuming those envelopes open without damaging the ballot inside, they would be flattened and scanned, same as any other.
Are we still getting calls, or is that starting to slow down?
It's starting to slow down, especially with all of the subsequent drops. There hasn't been any rain in October, thankfully, so it's removing a lot of that headache for us.
Right.
But voters who do receive a sealed ballot envelope can open it, can place their ballot inside either the secrecy envelope and then tape it, or inside the return envelope and tape it. You only need to initial, however, the return envelope. If you initialed your secrecy envelope, that's okay. Initials alone are not qualifying identifying marks as part of our policy, so we will still be able to count that. However, do not use anything like a return address sticker to seal your secrecy envelope. That would identify you as that voter, and we would not be able to count that ballot.
But aren't we calling people, we're calling people in the event that there are questions, right? That if they haven't taped it and initialed it, we're calling, are we proactively reaching out to people?
If they taped it and did not initial it, we are calling to verify that they are the one who cut open and resealed the envelope. If they initialed it, we are letting that pass.
Got it.
And any ballot deficiency, the voters are being contacted by email, phone, and letter.
And the mail-in ballot outer envelopes, if they're damaged, if people call and say their envelope is damaged, and they do the change, or cancel ballot, request a new ballot, are we telling them to just discharge or disregard their other ballot, or are we making them
Yeah.
bring them in?
They can just destroy that ballot. Our system allows us to cancel that ballot so that when it does come in, every ballot has to go through that Blue Crest scanner, which flags that barcode. Once that barcode's canceled, the machine spits it out. None of those ballots get counted. They all get sequestered in a locked cabinet. It's the only cabinet that doesn't have wheels in that room for a reason. And we leave those untouched for record keeping sake.
Right. And, because this one I hear a lot, so I want to just make sure we're, because people think that their sealed envelopes are more or less party-specific, so I think we got to make sure that independents and everyone knows that it's not party-specific. It's just by coincidence that this has been happening.
Right. We had a very wet and humid September. We got our ballots out while we were still enjoying a lot of the heat of the summer, and that kind of humidity causes ballots to arrive sealed. It happens every election. There is no.
That would be some weather if it was, targeting envelopes for Democrats.
Well,
Yeah.
We had to put the position of the security hole to rest, because that one was also. And I think we should make sure we put a public service message out there, which I don't agree with this, us putting names on our county website. Unbelievably, there may be unscrupulous people out there that will go knocking on somebody's door. And it was reported, I'm trying to get more information about that somebody, it was an elderly woman, they knocked on her door, they said that they needed to see her ID, and they requested her ballot, and she gave it to them. I'm trying to verify and get more information about that. But I think we need to make sure that people understand that, A, we're not sending anybody to anyone's doors that I know of, right?
No, you're not.
Right, so people we've got to make sure people understand that do not, if somebody comes knocking on your door, do not, give them any personal information, don't give them any identification, don't give them anything. Say, thank you, I'm going to contact voter services directly. So I
Yes.
think we need to make sure we get that out there. Not that there's unscrupulous people in Montgomery County, but, maybe those that, may be out there from other areas, I don't know, but we should make sure people understand, because these are the times we live in.
Yeah.
People find any opportunity to take advantage of others quickly.
No, just to really drive that home, Montgomery County Voter Services is not coming door to door. So if someone is appearing at your door asking to see your ID or your ballot, do not give it to them. Please call our office and let us know right away. If you do have a deficiency with the ballot, we are reaching out. We do have it on the website, but we are also making our own efforts to contact voters. You should always deal directly with voter services. Right. Even if it's a party or a candidate that you support, please deal directly with us.
Right, I mean, that's the point, is that if anybody comes knocking on your door, do not give them any information. I don't care what party they say or who they say they're with, whatever. Do not give any information, do not give any personal information, any identification, nothing. Close the door and say, I'll thank you, I'll contact voter services.
And what I would say is, as we get a lot of incoming in terms of what people, are hearing and experiencing, and we're doing a proactive job of trying to debunk what's real and what's fake. So you'll start to see on our social media channels that we're proactively trying to be responsive to, in this instance, if it was a senior and that was their experience, not necessarily misinformation, but we're trying to just keep a running list of issues that people are raising, and how do we proactively as a county bring truth to light. So, and I appreciate the team that's been working on that. So.
Yes, we have worked, the comms department has put together a bunch of great myth-busting one-pagers and also voter information guides that we've gotten translated into a number of different languages. All those are available at montcovotes.com under 2024 General Election Information. If anyone has any questions at all, please make sure that you are trying to get a hold of us. I understand the phones are extremely busy. We are retasking even more resources to the phones. We are receiving 3,000 calls a day. I would recommend at this point that you submit your request to us through the Contact Us form. That allows us to batch respond. So if you are having the same issue or question as 100 other people, I can answer all 100 of you at the same time. So if you are having trouble getting to the phone, please submit a Contact Us form to get your information.
Got it. I'll just add one piece, which is that, I think there are groups that are trying to be helpful, and it is helpful to the extent that you're not able to reach everyone who has a deficient ballot, and sometimes you call and they don't pick up. But the best practice is just to know that they can go to montcovotes.com, they can check the status of their ballot on there, they can even look at the public list and see if it's deficient and follow the instructions. As such.
If it's a deficient ballot, we just need a cancel or replace form from you, and within 24 hours of receiving that form, a new ballot will be mailed to you.
All right, thank you, Frank. Thank you for your leadership. You've got, how many more days? You have a countdown calendar in your office?
It's, everyone loves to say like, oh, 2 more weeks, and that's why I really drive home. It's Thanksgiving, really, when
True.
the stress comes off. But yes, we have a great team downstairs, a bunch of people that are absolutely just, frankly, mentally unwell with how devoted they are to making sure as many people can cast their vote. But I couldn't ask for a better team, and I certainly couldn't do it without them. So I would just like to take this opportunity to thank them.
Yeah.
They're probably not listening to this because they're, like I said, 3,000 phone calls. I appear to be getting the light.
So I will say I've been meeting, every time I take the elevators, I've been meeting friends and neighbors that are going to the voter services office to vote. And I've talked to probably like 12, 15 people over the last week. And just people are really pleased with the experience. So I know it's been a heavy lift for your team. But, I want to continue to reiterate that we've got an amazing voter services team that is fighting the good fight to ensure that everyone that is eligible to vote can vote in Montgomery County. And so let's be mindful, of the teams that we have on the ground in our satellite offices as, we think about the political rhetoric that is out there. Let's make sure that we keep the temperature down so that people can perform their jobs from here through election day. And so I recognize people, are doing a lot of great work to help us deliver on our election. So please extend my thank you to your team, because they're probably not listening. Thank you. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, public comment on today's pending votes, resolutions, bids, RFPs, and contracts. Limits 3 minutes, and it's for matters that will appear on today's agenda that the commissioners will consider at this meeting, and that's listed in items F through K. Who do we have for public comment?
Renee Mazer.
Hi, I'm Renee Mazer. I'm a licensed attorney, and I've been working with Pennsylvania Fair Elections Monco and the Delco Deep Diver Citizens Group.
Yeah. Renee, is elections related?
Yes.
That will be done at the end of the meeting. This is only for today's pending votes.
Okay, but at the end of the meeting, I'll get to speak?
Yep, absolutely. There's
Okay,
another public
thank you.
comment section. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jamie McGill.
It's also related to elections.
Let's wait till the end. We'll give you the cue. Thank you.
Next up is Joe Rooney.
Is it elections related or? Yes. Okay, I figured. So we'll do it at the next public comment section, which we'll get to quickly.
This public comment is just on agenda items that we will be voting on moving through the rest of the agenda. All other comments unrelated to agenda items will be at the end of the meeting.
Okay, great. Let's move to approval of the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 10th, 2024 minutes of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Makija. Any board comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, resolutions. I'd like to invite Kaylee Silver up to talk about the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Grant. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm here today to respectfully request a required resolution from the board in order to submit a grant application to the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Fund, or FAIR. FAIR receives its funding from a number of sources, including a portion of the realty transfer tax and money from the National Housing Trust Fund, and it is managed by the state and by the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, or PHFA. My office, out of Department of Health and Human Services, does apply for it every year. All counties in Pennsylvania are eligible to apply, as well as nonprofits, developers, and other organizations. Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services Office of Housing and Community Development, via the Your Way Home program, desires to submit an application for funding to FAIR to support households experiencing or at risk of homelessness to help continue and increase our efforts there. We have typically been graciously awarded. Our latest award was recent, and now the new funding application is open. We hope to submit an application requesting $1.5 million to support our rapid rehousing programs, our street outreach programs, and emergency shelter operations, as well as some administration. This, if awarded, will benefit at least 300 very low and low-income households who are either experiencing homelessness, regain and maintain permanent housing, as well as have temporary housing services or street outreach services. This will be then done through direct financial assistance, rental assistance payments, crisis services, and the like. The grant application requires a resolution, which is why I'm here today, and we will submit it later in November if approved. Thank you for your consideration.
Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 1 as described by Ms. Kaylee Silver. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Makija. Any board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to, before we go into G2, I'd like to note that Lorraine Bloodgood will be submitted in for Alicia Terezi. So I want to make a motion to amend Exhibit G2 to reflect the substitution of Lorraine Bloodgood for Alicia Terezi. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2 as described on Exhibit G2. Is that how I say it? Okay, I got it. I was just making sure. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Makija. Are you going to come up, Lori, and talk about it a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to have you come up before we vote. Thank you. Probably should have let you do that first. But,
Good morning to all the commissioners. Thank you for inviting me up. And before I address the commission, I wanted to just talk about something very controversial, which is the candy corn debate. You can also take candy corn, cut it up with walnuts and butter, and put it on butternut squash, cook it, and you can follow me for other recipes of how to make healthy food into unhealthy food. My specialty. Okay.
so, but do you like candy corn as is?
I do like.
Okay,
I
all
do
right.
like candy corn. Yeah, I
That's
do.
fine.
Only at Halloween time, though.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So, first of all, I was very honored to be the head of the selection committee for this wonderful commission that we are going to have. I want to thank the committee members, Dan Clifford, Joseph Ciandra, Karen Sanchez, Brian Reese Turner, for the many, many, many hours they spent working on this. We were so, I don't even know the word for it. I was blown away by how many people applied. We had close to 100 people that were all wonderful, wonderful candidates. So if you were not somebody who was selected, please don't think that was a reflection of your candidacy, your background, the things that you submitted. There were so many people that we could have really put onto this commission, and that's why we spent so many hours being very deliberate in our choices, because we wanted to have diversity in lots of ways. So we have people from every part of the county, so, from west, north, east, all over the county. We had all age groups. We have from high school to seniors. Professionally, we try to make sure we had people from all different career backgrounds so that we could really address all of the different things that might come up and need to be addressed by a commission, such as that would work on issues that would be related to LGBTQ plus people. And so I think that we really came up with a good list that can cover many of the concerns, give advice, and assess what needs to happen in our community. So again, thank you for considering this and being really forward-thinking in having this commission. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for your leadership, Lori. So just some comments from me. So October is LGBTQ History Month, and it was established in 1994 by a teacher. Hold on, I need a minute. Okay. I'm just going to say that this is a boardroom where I want to make sure that everyone feels respected and included, even if we have differing opinions about this community. I'm not going to tolerate any behavior and reaction to the work that we're doing. So for anyone that finds it funny, it's inappropriate. So back to my comments. This was established in 1994 by a teacher in Missouri, Rodney Wilson. It commemorates the history of the LGBTQ rights movement, including marches on Washington in 1979 and 1987. It also celebrates the role models and contributions of the LGBTQ communities throughout history in this country. I'm proud to welcome these members of the new LGBTQ Commission in Montgomery County, because I know they're going to make great contributions to our work at the county. I look forward to hearing their input to guide more inclusive policies, programs, and services to meet the needs of our residents. As Lori mentioned, we had a huge response to our call for members of this new commission, and I want to thank everyone who took the time to tell us their story and share their perspectives. The number of applications we received demonstrates the value of creating spaces and forums where different lived experiences and perspectives can help shape how government works. And as it is LGBTQ History Month, it's worth noting that for much of our county's history, forums like this commission did not exist, especially not in government. And so there are a number of people that I have met along the way in my journey to this dais. I want to thank people like Lori. I want to thank people like Dan Clifford. I want to thank people like Ricky Buttacavoli, who will serve as a senior advisor. There are people that have been advocating for this work. There are people that are advocating so that Montgomery County becomes and remains an inclusive place for all people, no matter who you love. And so this is a demonstration that not only shows that all are welcome here in Montgomery County, but it makes a strong statement that your voice is important and deserves to be heard when we are making decisions as a board. And so I want to congratulate everyone that was appointed today. We are excited to partner with you and continue to make Monco the best place to live, work, and raise a family. So I'm going to, any additional comments?
I would just add thank you to everyone, and Lori especially, for being on the committee, the selection committee, and bringing us a fantastic group of people with the diversity of backgrounds that you mentioned. And, this isn't always understood, but the work isn't done. People sometimes think that there's progress with the LGBT community and don't I think, well, actually, I should say recently, I think it's become apparent every day, seeing how members of the community are being targeted and attacked as political pawns. Anytime you open the television, it's disturbing. And the need for this committee is apparent when we see what's happening, where members of the LGBT community are just are being targeted. And we have to find ways to, at the county level, protect civil rights for everyone. And I'm particularly interested in seeing how we can work with the townships and municipalities, because they have authority to enforce civil rights and through their human relations commissions. And that's something we can't do at the county level currently, but we can continue to partner and collaborate as well as with the state. So I know that's a big piece, is that intergovernmental collaboration to ensure that we can fully protect people's rights.
Any other comments?
No, I mean, like any group, I mean, there's many groups that are targeted every day. I mean, look we see what's going on within our Jewish communities. So I think that it's important that we all just respect each other and try to get along. It's not acceptable for any one group to target another group, and that's what we have to continue to stand behind. But let's keep in mind that there are many groups every day that are targeted and harassed continuously.
Okay. So are you you're in support of this? Okay. So moving to a vote, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations to all the new board members. All right, next up, the personnel list for October 24th, Ms. Catherine Halen.
Good morning, Commissioners. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Commissioners' Department Personnel List. It is a 3-page document dated October 23rd, 2024, with a timestamp of 9:45 a.m. These transactions have been reviewed by management and are now presented for your consideration.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 24th, 2024 personnel presentation as given by Ms. Catherine Halen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Makija. Any board comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve the advertisements of bids and RFPs for Montgomery County on attached Exhibit A. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contracts, awards, amendments, and renewals for Montgomery County on attached Exhibit B. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Makija. So I just wanted to make some quick comments on this section. So I wanted to just thank our IT and Communications Department for their hard work in evaluating the bids we received for the RFP. For this RFP, it's the website contract award for Agenda Item J, Exhibit B, Item 9. I know, because I've been through it before at other companies that I've worked with, that it is no small feat to review and evaluate 30-plus proposals. The county website is a critical tool for how we communicate with our friends and neighbors, and is often the first impression that residents get of our county, and it encompasses literally thousands of pages of information about services and programs. The website has been viewed 8.2 million times so far this year. Interpersonal Frequency has a great deal of experience working with local governments, and they understand the complexities of what Montgomery County needs for our website. They take security and operations very seriously, along with user experience, design, and searchability, which is incredibly important when thousands of pages with dense information are involved. So I look forward to working towards an improved website experience for our residents, our local partners, and also for our staff who maintain the site's content every day. Any other board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contracts, awards, amendments, and renewals for Southeast PA Regional Task Force on attached Exhibit C. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next up, general public comment, limit to 3 minutes. Speakers may comment on matters that are or may be before the Board of Commissioners. And all public comments must be relevant and germane to county business.
Might just have-
Renee Mazer, you want to add one thing before public comment? Go ahead.
Yes, we may not answer everything immediately. Yeah. Oftentimes, if there's a slew of comments on a particular topic, it's best to take them all at once and answer at the end of the period. So just giving everyone a heads up.
Great. Who did you name? I'm sorry. First up? It's okay. Renee Mazer? Renee? Okay. Yes, now it's clear. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. I am Renee Mazer, a licensed attorney, and I have been working with Pennsylvania Fair Elections, Monco, and the Delco Deep Divers Citizens Groups. The Montgomery County Director of Elections, Frank Dean, and Secretary of the Commonwealth for Elections, Jonathan Marks, testified 2 weeks ago in court in the case Mancini and White versus the Board of Elections that they do not do secure build validation to verify that lawful software is loaded on all election machines, and that they did not certify the machines in Montco after an upgrade from Dominion 5.5 to 5.5A. These are violations of federal law. Instead, Dean testified for several hours that the strict procedures for logic and accuracy testing were a substitute for the federally mandated tests. The judge's ruling basically said, it is my understanding, that the procedures were sufficient to circumvent federal law. I also understand that the petitioners will be appealing and should win. Fast forward to logic and accuracy testing and the strict procedures testified to by Frank Dean. Qualified observers witnessed the first run of a 13,000 ballot test deck and saw the ballot images were dropped into a hidden file folder, and they objected because that should not have been. They had to rerun the test. They then watched as the tester ran the entire test with a setting to put all ballot images into an adjudication folder, defeating the purpose of the test, which was to tabulate the ballot images. So the logic and accuracy testing was very problematic. None of the strict procedures which Director of Elections Dean testified to were followed. The observers have been prohibited from photographing and videoing any of these violations to ostensibly protect the numbers on machine seals. Yet, the seals and memory cards were observed laying about with none of the security or chain of custody attested to by Mr. Dean in court. The citizens group has been videotaping drop boxes and the satellite voting locations and had video of ballot box stuffing, and most concerning, the Director of Elections Dean entering the satellite voting center at 11 p.m. at night. After reviewing video, it was clear that there was a device swap out. I understand that reports that mail-in ballot envelopes are being delivered to voters that have been glued shut and must be cut open and then resealed with tape, which will, or rather should, result in an automatic removal from the processing and tabulation. The citizens group have been repeatedly confronted by workers without IDs, in several cases directly threatened, and they received...
Renee, your time is up. Thank you for your comments.
I'll answer one part of this very quickly. Just in regard to the lawsuit that was mentioned regarding our voting machines, as was stated, our Director of Elections had to testify, had to take time out of overseeing the administration of the election to deal with this lawsuit, which was frivolous. Here's what the judge said in the suit. The petitioners, who were making the claims that were just made, failed to produce any evidence that Montgomery County has violated any federal or state law. Petitioners have failed to produce any evidence of any inaccuracy or errors in Montgomery County's use of the Dominion Democracy Suite 5.5A voting system. petitioners have failed to produce any evidence that the testing procedures employed by Montgomery County are unlawful or inaccurate. The evidence in the hearing, the evidence that was produced in the hearing supports the opposite conclusion, that the voting system has been extremely accurate in properly recording all votes in Montgomery County elections since its implementation. I'll just leave it at that.
Who's next?
I got a comment, because we keep saying this is frivolous, and I keep sitting back, and I don't want to get into this, but now this is the last time. The evidence that was presented was, based on the county's perspective, through the stipulation, was that the county processed the mail-in ballot testing, or the LNA testing of central processing. If we remember correctly, which was originally scheduled to start the week before, but when the lawsuit was filed, and this was through the stipulation, when the lawsuit was filed, Montgomery County Voter Services, we pulled back on sending out the mail-in ballots. We pulled back on the starting of the LNA testing, which was then scheduled for the Monday, and we also rescheduled and started the testing of the central processing of the scanners where mail-in ballots were going to go. The reason why the case was then proceed the way it went was because the stipulation was that that's the process that we followed. If the lawsuit was never filed, we would have started, and we would have stayed on the original schedule of what we were starting LNA testing the week before. We didn't have central processing scanners scheduled to test until the end, and the mail-in ballots would have been sent out. So let's be clear about what really happened and focus on, why the decisions were what they were. That was the stipulation by the county. So
That's a different case.
it's not, that's the case we're talking about. That is not a different case.
The case in which
That is the case we're talking about.
All right, we're not going to do an argument here, okay? I want to make sure that everyone that's listening, right, hears the facts and the good work that we're doing in Montgomery County. So I'm not going to entertain an argument.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I just read what the judge said.
No, that's fine.
And
I'm not entertaining an argument.
I am a commissioner, and
I
I have my
understand,
free
and
will
I'm-
to speak. And my free will to speak is that all I restated was what was stipulated by the county during the case.
And I'm telling you, I'm not going to argue.
I'm not
You've said
arguing.
what you needed to say. Commissioner Makisha has said what he's needed to say. We're moving on. Next up.
Next up, Jamie Mogul.
Thanks, Jamie, for waiting.
Sure, of course, thank you. Well, I'll just say first, Jamie Mogul, live in Lower Marion, proud team candy corn, including the harvest
Jamie.
mix. I even like to point out that Becca has a candy corn dress on.
I am the representative of Team.
Okay. But now I'm actually here also in my capacity as president of one of the regional League of Women Voters. And aside from what we just saw, I do want to point out and make sure to thank you all. So much so that I invited some international observers. I did let some of you know who are part of a Democratic observation legal team going across Pennsylvania and the United States, but particularly these observers are here to see what I told them is a county I am proud to live in because, as you said, Commissioner Winder, you do communicate. You do try to emphasize access to voting. And one of the things I do want to commend you, I've previously been here before with your predecessors to argue that the cheer list should be public because it does include, as Commissioner DeBello, you pointed out, we have plenty of unaffiliated, meaning independent voters, third-party voters that are just as significant in making sure they took that time to get that registration, that ballot. They too should have that opportunity. I do also want to commend you on the videos that you've put out, even regarding the sealed envelopes, even how to fill out the envelopes. We've been doing that as well. I've heard also from members about the trainings, how great the trainings have been, and also how our county allows high schoolers who may not be eligible to vote. We're one of the first that did that and has an extensive program. I think you all are emphasizing, whether you agree or not on how people vote, you're emphasizing that they do have options. And that is really what's important here. At the end of the day, that we try to get all eligible voters access to the ballot. So I just want to commend you, let you know they're here, and they're actually going to go downstairs afterwards to see the election office as well. So thank you so much. Oh, and thank you to Frank Dean. I know you probably left. Yesterday, late shout out was Election Hero Day. I think he and his staff are more than worthy of that honor. So
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Next up, Joe Verney.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here, Joe Rooney. I'm in Abington. First off, a couple things just from the beginning of the meeting. For our always overlooked and often ignored Christian brothers and sisters, we also have All Saints and All Souls Day are coming up in the next week, which is foundational to what Halloween actually is. The next thing up is I would also like to say October is Respect Life Month. All lives, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, and we honor them from conception to natural death. So that's an important thing in October we want to focus on. What I'd like to say after that is that I wish that our county would get rid of this divisive identity politics and understand that we are all Americans, okay? And our focus is red, white, and blue, and e pluribus unum. From many, one, and that's where we need to focus. There also is no such thing as an LGBTQIA plus community. There are all Americans in here, and everybody's protected under our existing laws. That's where we are. So following that, in that same idea, what would really be cool about our elections is, oh, also, yes, if a commissioner smirks while a commenter is talking, is that the violation also that you were talking about when you were talking to someone?
Well, I was talking about
That's
you
just my time.
laughing when we were talking about the LGBTQ commission, but finish your comments. I don't want to take any of your time. Go ahead.
I'll reclaim that time, but that's not whatever I was doing. That's
Okay.
not it. But it was inappropriate, and you shouldn't do that to commenters and people in here.
Don't come into this board.
That's not
Stop
professional
his time.
behavior.
Don't come into this boardroom and chastise me. You can finish your comments, okay?
No, ma'am, when you
But
reach out to
you talk about being divisive. You're being divisive. So I'm not going
As
to.
an individual citizen talking, and now you're putting me down. I don't
I'm not-
understand that. How is that appropriate comments from our board?
So
But
I'm
I'll
not
get back on to my election
I'm not,
stuff.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to let you finish your comments.
So important part of our elections is to protect every legal vote, and that is through the uniform enforcement of our election laws. So what I would love to have heard Frank Dean talk about was what seems to me to be this ballot harvesting van. I talked to Frank Dean during that meeting, and he told me that the voter services wasn't actually covering the scheduling of that van that was being done by the commissioners. So then I'm like, wait a minute, does that mean it's going to be in public and there's going to be a vote? Is there something written about who decides where that van goes, who the outreach is and where it goes? I don't know. I'd love to know if things are written down and if it's publicly available as long as we have a ballot harvesting van going around the township. Now, the next thing is, on our very first day, October 4th, I think it was, I reached out to the president of the election board with what I saw in Abington, Willow Grove, Upper Dublin, and also Cheltenham. Sadly, I got no response. I didn't even get acknowledgement of my receipt. But what I did was I went into Abington and I asked inside the satellite office at 4 o'clock, I said, how's everything going? The computers were not hooked up, so that was not functional in Abington or in Willow Grove. I know two of my neighbors that went there and were turned away. They couldn't vote on that Friday afternoon. I also asked the person in Abington, I said, can somebody put more than one ballot in a drop box? And I was told yes.
Your time is up.
It's important. Can I get one more minute?
No. Not today. You cannot. get
Please
more.
remember that, folks, when you think about our election coming up. And I have observations, and I
Mr.
wasn't
Rooney,
given
your time-
one more
Mr.
minute.
Rooney, your time is up. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, just very quickly. Just on the satellite office's important operational piece, there were issues when they first launched on the first Friday, and part of it is because they operate as magistrate judge offices during the day and they need to transition. We're working with the leadership in these offices and the courts to try to give us more time to set up before they open. And I've commented on the ban in the past or in the beginning of the meeting, so I think that's fine. I wish you the best with your run for state representative. I understand you're on the ballot. I think people should just know that. So that's it.
Thanks, Mr. Rooney. Next up.
Next up, Ann Harrington.
Ann? Okay, thank you. Next up.
Vince Sabinski.
Vince, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would say that I'm not a fan of candy corn, but my grandchildren say there's a certain way to eat it. You eat it from the top to the bottom.
Okay, good to
Section
know.
by section.
If I ate candy
It's a
corn, that's good advice.
technical piece on the candy corn issue. Want to talk about a couple things today. First, Commissioners, you may be aware of there's a very heated and partisan environment in our community today. It's unfortunate, but it exists. You may be aware in Woodpain Township, an individual was caught destroying, vandalizing signs of supporters of Republican candidates. The police have that information. We believe that individual will be arrested, but it's happening through various areas in different parts of our county. Additionally, other supporters of Republican candidates who have visible signs in locations that are very visible are receiving letters in the mail threatening them. You may be aware of this. The reason I want to share this is you'll say, what's the police issue? Let the police deal with it. And I agree with that. It is a police issue. They have been notified of this. However, it's a political issue because they're destroying political information. So my reason I raise this with the commissioners is simply this. While you can't control every aspect of what goes on here, we can establish a mode or a method of suppressing this kind of information. We don't want this to happen. For example, in Woodpain, a fellow was out there with a sign cutter and a knife in the middle of the night, and the homeowner videotaped it. Now, if these two connect in the middle of the night out in the yard, something bad could happen. We don't want that in our community. So any efforts that you all can employ to bring the temperature down on this stuff is critically important. It's happening everywhere. I have the letters here. I'd like you to see these because I think it's important that you read this kind of thing. I'll leave it with the commissioners.
That's great. Yeah, you can leave it with our board
Okay.
secretary.
I will.
Is that,
Just want to read
okay, you have one more.
Just real quickly, one more comment on that letter. The letter was addressed to individuals who had visible signage in the community, cross main line, out this way, et cetera. The writer says, I'm concerned about the level of political violence. Then he goes on to say, but more importantly, we know where you live. You are in the database. In the dead of a cold winter's night, this year or next and beyond, there is no knowing what may happen. Your property, your family may be impacted, your cat may get shot, and more. This is not the kind of stuff we want going on. They could say it's a deranged voter, it's a deranged individual, but it's happening in multiple places, in multiple circumstances. So I think it is a call to bring the level down in our community, and really deal with what we're facing here. Last comment, I just have a few more seconds. I did try to look up information on the van, voter services van. Had I been a voter on that, I probably would not have voted for it because it's a pretty expensive van. But having said that, I do think there should be scheduling information available for the community so we know where that van is going. Where is it going? Who's using it? How is it being used? That's simple stuff. I don't think that's a big deal, and I think that could be on our website. I looked for it and couldn't find it. So I would suggest that be included as well.
Okay.
So with that, I'll...
Thank you for your comments, and
You're welcome.
I would say, I wish we had more comments like that, because I don't think any of us condone any acts of political violence. We certainly have our own political affiliations, but I can at least speak for, and I'm sure it's the same for Commissioner DeBello, but when Commissioner Makija and I are out talking to our Democratic committee, our volunteers, we're talking about how do we help our candidate win and do it in a way that's constructive and productive. So we're trying to model good leadership, but I see what's happening on social media. I see what's happening in neighborhoods. Listen, something happened at my father's house. So So I appreciate you saying it, because we do need to take the temperature down.
Bring it down, let's
Yep.
bring it down. I'll
No,
leave this
absolutely right.
for you all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Can I make a public service announcement?
Yeah, you can do a PSA, as long as it's on. Yeah.
For anybody out there in listening ears or watching, I don't care who you are, what party you are, leave the signs and materials alone. I've been involved in politics for over 20 plus years. I've never touched an opponent's or opposing party's materials, and I think it's ridiculous. And I, like Commissioner Weiner said, at a lot of events I'm at, I'm always asked, how do I get along with my fellow commissioners? And I have probably said over 100+ times already how the three of us get along. And even though we may not agree on something all the time, we don't agree and we move forward. And that's what's most important about this democratic process, that everyone has a right to choose who they want to support and who they want to vote for. And we need to respect each other. And the letters that he was referring to, I saw them. I think it's impulsive. But I agree that this is, we got 2 weeks to go, and we just got to tone it down and leave everyone's materials alone.
That was a good PSA.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Is that Barb Furman?
Good morning.
Hello, Barb Furman, New Hanover Township. I've said before that I am a Joe in my township. We have over 3,000 registered voters. I am concerned about the emphasis on mail-in ballots. As a poll worker, I feel voter services with the director of the president of the Board of Elections has spent so much time on mail-in ballots, drop boxes, and satellite offices. And believe it, I even had a conversation with, I believe it was Andy from Voter Services, even apologized to me about the dropping of the ball on communication with the poll worker teams. Now I get these reminders at my address. My daughter and son-in-law lived with us for a year. They moved in June of 2023 to South Carolina. They were still on the roll in November, and very well could have voted. There was nothing to stop them in November of 2023 except me, because they were registered in South Carolina. It hasn't changed. They're still on the list. Now they are inactive. And yet, I get reminders. They get reminders at my address that they should apply for a mail-in ballot. There's no reason for an inactive voter to get a mail-in ballot. I have activated voters that were inactive at the precinct. That's what the judges of elections do. And so what we do at the precinct is a person who is local, making sure that that person actually lives at that address. They even got, I talked to my daughter today, and I said, have you gotten anything? She did call Voter Services. She never got a return call back. They did get something a couple of months ago at their address in Myrtle Beach, asking them, do you still live there? Our voter rolls, I have seen this over and over again as a judge of elections in my neighborhood. People who haven't lived there for years. They're on the inactive list. And these people, every single one of them, have gotten one of these, obviously. I mean, it's not just coming to my house. So, and by the way, the over 300 that need to be cured, when they go in person to the precinct, all of those things are resolved on the day of the election. It isn't a problem to cure them because they put it in, it doesn't work, we see what the problem is, their ballot can be counted. So voting in person is the most secure. And you know the person is representing themselves.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Mike Missouri. Mike? No? Okay.
No? Okay, next up, Dawn Henderson.
Before you start my time, please don't interrupt me. I'm not prepared. I just came because I couldn't get in online, so please
Okay.
hold your comments and please don't be argumentative. That's all subjective. So I think there's been a little bit of that. Thank you. So I'm not prepared, but I have a lot to say. I can validate, and most of these people I don't know. My name is Dawn Henderson from Montgomery County. So I got involved when I realized we bought new polling machines as I'm about to be taxed on my property. I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised, multiple generations, pushed out of my neighborhood, my beautiful, not far from Kensington, and that is where my family landed when they were pushed out of Europe from the Holocaust. So we know the state of Kensington, I then was pushed out of Northeast Philadelphia, and I'm now being pushed out of Montgomery County. My property taxes are astronomical and keep rising. So when you all decided to buy new machines, you're affecting me that was raised by a single parent, a woman who was brave enough to walk away from a father who was not worthy to stay with. We still climbed and clawed. I am not privileged by any means. But whatever you do, we're going to overcome it. So with that said, Neil, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Someone from the office called me. And I told you, and you keep saying that United States postal boxes are safe. There's video evidence on the news. I told your office this, but after I told your office this, you still said it. Are you going to recant that? Because when I was sitting at my box 17, which is very unsafe, I don't have enough time to stand here and tell you, and your staff is approaching me with no badges, nothing, and for no reason. And I'm a nurse, and I have to have badges and have to countersign things. What accountability does your security guard, who told me personally, because he was checking on me and violating my rights, that he saw 5 ballots drop? What is his incident report, or who is his chain of command that he's reporting that? He doesn't know what this supplemental ballot is. He doesn't know what the supplemental ballot, and he told me. He doesn't know what the ballot is or what it looks like when he's supposed to accompany these 5 ballots. Back to what you didn't answer my question, Neil, is my security guard, who then was called on me, and I'm sitting in my car doing nothing but watching the ballot, because my ballot box doesn't look like yours downstairs. And that's a beautiful box, and every box should look like that. Stop trying to fool this streetwise girl with a gut instinct who survived more than any of you could imagine. I wasn't propped up by some special parents or anything, but I can tell you when dirty looks dirty. And I'll keep watching. But you, my friend, had the security guards or police, and I say you because the security guard said commissioners were his boss, and told me that, and I have it on video, right? He told me that the blue ballot box is a known thing to be robbed. And guess what? My daughter's 150 wedding invitations that I could afford climbed up from a single parent. Those boxes get robbed. Are you going to recant your statement that there's nothing wrong with those blue boxes? That was my main reason for coming here. But it took me, and I had to leave my special needs brother home right now to be here because I couldn't get online because your website stinks. And like everybody said, you can't track it again. Neil, I'm talking to you, and you just turned your head and rolled your eyes at me.
Excuse me.
I asked not to be
Keep the
interrupted.
temperature down.
Oh,
Finish
but
your
he's allowed
comment.
to ignore me.
This is not a dialogue.
But your office didn't follow up. Jill, I believe her name was, did she give you the message? Because after I said that those boxes aren't safe, you all ignored it.
So
He
we
repeated
will
it.
get your name and we will.
I have so much more. I have evidence. So you might want to clean up the ballot box.
Okay.
I actually want to ask a quick question. Which ballot box are you referring to?
There's many. I drive by whenever I'm in an area. And let me tell you something. With my dog, my white Labrador, who has no instance of any barking even. He was trained for a special needs person, by the way. So when your people are offending and
I just want to
complaining,
know what location.
there's many, but the main offenses that I have tons of documentation on is 17, thank you.
17th and what?
And I'm not afraid to stand here. I'm not hiding anything.
Next up, we're gonna move on to Zoom. We have Joanne Schweitzer. Schweitzer, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Joanne, can you hear us? Joanne? Joanne, can you hear us? Okay.
Volume up.
Okay, let's move on to Marlene Lasko. Marlene? Marlene?
Yes, I can hear you.
She's talking.
Yeah, can we just turn the volume up a little bit so we can hear? Hold on a second, Marlene.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Marlene Laska, Upper Providence Township. Titles 25, Section 3031.13 requires precinct reconciliation. But we're wondering what is being done relative to Title 25, Section 3154. We may need to meet offline to delve into the details of this, but I would like to set up a time frame where we can get insight into this reconciliation. Also, wondering what is the response to my comment at the last Board of Commissioners meeting. The comment was relative to the 2% recount being done manually. I just sent an email to the Board of Elections and never received a response. To recount, Title 25, Section 3031.5 states that the recount has to be done in accordance with the report. The report is generated when a county uses a machine. The report is developed when a county uses a machine. I mentioned this before, received the feedback that the county is using the Pennsylvania Department of State directive, but the law takes precedence over a directive, which means that if the county is using the machine, the machines, then the county cannot use 3031.17, but must use 3031.5. Given this legal opinion, we're wondering what is the updated procedure with 2% recount. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. If there's follow-up from what she's brought up, then if you could, some of the things that she brought up.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Marlene.
Okay, next up is Adrian Seltzer.
Adrian, can you hear us? Oh, there you go. There you go. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. I just want to comment on the excellent poll worker training that I had. I've lost time at this point, but I think it was last week. It was like the person who does one of my inspectors also took the same training, and she said that it was like so much better than last year, and I really appreciate it. I appreciated all the effort that went into making the reconciliation much clearer and easier to do. I was tardy today because Zoom was not sending me a code, so I couldn't get into the meeting. And I missed what Mr. Dean said about a contact form, because I've been hearing from a lot of people that the line is always busy. And I wanted to be able to share that contact form with people who are telling me that. And third, I've been trying to get your wonderful band come to an event that we'd be having in Ardmore with the churches, instead of poles to the souls, the souls to the poles, I thought we'd do a poles to the souls. And I haven't been able to find out how to get that scheduled, or if it's available next Sunday at 1.
So we will follow up on a couple of things. I'm looking at Sarah Charles, who works on requests that come in to have the voter van visit. I want to be clear that anytime a voter van shows up somewhere, it's a nonpartisan event.
This is through NAACP.
Right, which is nonpartisan.
Yes. So,
We will have somebody follow up with you.
okay, thank you. And the form for contacting voter services that Mr. Dean spoke about?
We'll have somebody follow up with you on that as well.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, bye.
Thanks. Next up?
We're going to try Joanne again. Joanne, can you try?
Joanne, can you hear us? Joanne? Oh, let's unmute. Is that her? Okay. Can you unmute her? Joanne, can you hear us? She has to unmute on her own? Okay, got it.
Trying to do that, I've had that issue, and it doesn't work. So I don't know what the issue is, but it's happened to me.
Okay. Can you take down Joanne's contact information, and we can follow up with her after? Okay.
There's no other public comment.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for your public comments. Do we have any closing commissioner comments?
Just quick comment that this weekend's our last weekend for satellite offices. I'm sure it's going to be busy. And I want everyone to know that although it was stated earlier that we only had issues the first weekend, that's not necessarily true. The shore system that's run by the state that we have no control over, that we have to use to verify voters, does go up and down throughout the days when we're utilizing them. So from time to time, it may cause some delays in processing of applications and processing of the ballots. So hopefully the system is rested after a long week of not being utilized and will be functioning well this weekend. But if and when the system does go down, please keep in mind that it's not the workers at the satellite office's fault. They have no control over it, and they will do everything they can to wait or help to get the system back up and running. But it does go down, and it does have an impact on wait time sometimes. I'm not saying it will happen, but it may happen, and if it does, just be courteous to the people that are working inside.
Okay, thank you. Anything?
I mean, I can agree with that. The Sure system is 20-some years old. It's, it's like, it feels a little bit like the Windows 95 of voting systems, and I'm sure it was great when it came out, but I wouldn't still be using it. And the state, we really got to push them to change that after this election, because they can, it would make things much faster across the board in satellite operations and registration. We'd be able to work much more efficiently with our staff as well. So the other thing I would just note, in response to one of the comments, there have been voters who have contacted me who have felt intimidated and harassed by individuals who have been videotaping people at drop boxes. When we receive those complaints, they are sent to the district attorney's office, because no voter should feel intimidated, no voter should be intimidated when they're trying to exercise their right to vote. So I think it's very important that people recognize that that's how we handle those situations as well, and we'll continue to do that. And I hope that when we talk about lowering the temperature, one of the ways of doing that is not impeding and interfering with other people's rights to vote, right? And No one needs to be a vigilante. We monitor every Dropbox. It's recorded. Anything that needs to be sent to the district attorney is sent. And yeah, I will leave that at that. Finally, I think this is, yeah, we don't have an election board meeting. Now, the next one will be post-election, right?
Right before the election.
Right before the election? Yep. Okay, so we'll have that. That's all I got.
I don't, not to be argumentative, but we do not monitor Dropboxes. We videotape Dropboxes, and unless there's something reported that we could go back to the videotapes, that's what we do. Dropboxes, unlike Chester County and Bucks County, who have hired and have security at the Dropboxes, we don't. But they are not monitored. And we have instances, I've seen it myself, where people are dropping off multiple ballots. So, you know, it is what it is, but let's not say they're monitored. They're not.
So what I would say, just in closing, is, you know, we talked about giving people grace and our employees grace at the satellite offices this weekend, but I would also say that on Election Day, right, that's prime time, and we don't want any voter in Montgomery County to feel intimidated or scared to come out and exercise their right to vote at the poll. And so I would equally ask that heading into actual Election Day, that we model good behavior. And we can want a candidate to win, but we don't have to be nasty about it. And so I think we all have a responsibility as neighbors to treat each other as you would expect to be treated. And so I would ask, there are tons of poll workers and people that are working hard to pull off our election on November 5th. And I would just ask that we model good behavior heading into Election Day. And so with that, our next Board of Commissioners meeting will be Thursday, November 14th at 10 a.m. in this boardroom. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the October 24th, 2024 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, oh, there's our controller. And see, any public comment on salary board?
No public comment.
Okay, seeing none, I'd like to invite Ms. Catherine Halen up to review the salary board list.
Pumpkin-shaped Reese's cups are
There you go.
actually the best.
That's in candy.
Good morning, salary board members. You should have in front of you the final copy of the salary board list. The list consists of new positions, new hires, other transactions, and a listing of employees going off roll. It's a 4-page document dated October 23rd, 2024, with a timestamp of 9:45 a.m. All transactions have been reviewed by management and are now presented for your consideration.
Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 24th, 2024 salary board presentation as given by Ms. Catherine Halen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Controller Sanchez. Any board comment? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Caldwell, we have a retiree that we want to speak about.
We do indeed. Mary Ann, come on up. Commissioners, board members, thank you for letting me speak today. It's bittersweet when you get to come up and speak about an employee that has been with your department and been with you for, gosh, we've been together as long as I've been here, and you've been here a lot longer than that.
Yes.
How long have you been?
22 years.
22 years. So we want to thank Mary Ann. I wanted to personally thank Mary Ann, Mayor, for her 22 years of service with the county. She's been through a couple of different treasurers, and like I said, been with me and just for all of my time here. Really, Mary Ann, you've been one of the rocks of the department. You're always there. You're consistent. You have been always pleasant, always upbeat. And anytime we needed something done, we knew we could give it to you and it would get done. It would get done right. And we didn't have to
didn't have to come back next year and tell you to do it again. That's a really wonderful thing, and that's the sweet part. The bitter part is we won't be able to see you again as much as we do now, and that's terrible. But you're off on a new adventure, and that's good for you. So thank you for all of your service. Thank you for being a good friend of mine too. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything?
Thank you.
It's okay.
It's been a pleasure working for Montgomery County.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service to our county. Did I see you in the elevator?
Yes.
I did. That's right. I saw you in the elevator this morning. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Enjoy whatever this next chapter looks like for you. And clearly, you've been a great colleague and asset to our treasurer's office. So all the best to you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Well, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I believe our Katie is also leaving us.
Yep, I'm getting to that.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry, I didn't want to.
I just want to say thank you, and also thank you for coming in here today so that we could thank you in person.
Thank you.
It's so nice when we get to thank you in person for all your years of service, so I appreciate that.
Great, thank you. All the best.
Thank
All right, Katie, get back up here. Let's wait till she gets up. Yeah, okay. So we haven't had a chance to talk one-on-one, but Katie Halen, our Chief Human Resource Officer, will be leaving the county in the next week. And I just want to personally thank you for really raising the level of play of our county HR department. In the short time that you've been here, you really worked hard to do a number of things in terms of professionalizing the way we support our employees. And so thank you for lending your talent during this time, especially as a new administration. It's really been a big help, and I wish you all the best in the next chapter. I know you're going back to healthcare. It sounds like you have a really exciting opportunity. So wishing you all the best and grateful for all that you've done.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to implement programs and benefits that many employers do not implement. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. And I'm so proud of my team.
Anything else?
No, I mean, it's been a short couple months that we've been here with you, but I think you've done an amazing job. You've made a lot of good changes from what I understand and what I've seen. So you're going to definitely greatly be missed. And I'm just curious, do you still put the candy corns on your teeth like bags?
No, I do not.
But we definitely will miss you, and you'll be hard to replace, but I know you're going to a great opportunity. So I just totally understand. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to work with everyone.
I'll just add, what you said. The policies we've been able to implement this year have been historic in many ways, and that's thanks to you and your team. And it's going to have an effect for a long time for all the employees of the county, and that's lasting. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Katie, we still have so many projects before you leave, so I know we have a meeting right after this, but a lot of the things that we've worked on closely over the past year that either have been implemented or still going to be implemented will be your legacy. So thank you so much for all of your work here.
Thank you all very much.
Great. All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the October 24th, 2024 meeting of the Montgomery County Montgomery County Salary Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? Hearing none, moving to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you all for being here.